The stages of listening to Boise State Public Radio podcasts. Step 1, testing the waters. You tune into an episode or two. Nothing too serious. Step 2, you got a little hooked on one of those series like Extremely American or Scandalized, and now you're binging. No judgment, but you did listen to it in one day. Step 3, now you're subscribed to a feed. You get notifications to your phone every time there's a new daily episode of The Connector or Idaho Matters. I see where this is going. Step 4, you realize how much time you're spending with Boise State Public Radio podcasts and the fact that it doesn't cost you a dime. Step 5, you decide to step up and support your podcast listening because you can, because you want to, not because you have to. All right, now's the time, you podcast fan you. Go to boisestatepublicradio.org and click donate to support your love of Boise State Public Radio podcast listening today.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. This morning, the State Board of Education takes up the controversial issue of DEI programs. We've got a preview. We'll tell you about why the Boise City Council had a rare joint session with library trustees yesterday. Plus, we have an update on the ever-increasing risk of avalanche. It is Wednesday, the 18th of December, and here come today's stories. The State Board of Education meets today, and on the agenda is the topic that has generated much debate at the State House: diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at Idaho Public Schools. Earlier this month, we reported that the State Board was putting together a series of resolutions which would restrict DEI programs, and that got some immediate pushback from State Senator Melissa Wintrow. She told the executive director of the State Board that such proposals were divorced from reality for many students, especially on Idaho campuses.
And I would encourage you to talk to students, because that's who's contacting me, and they're scared about the things that you're denying them, and they might leave. But that is inappropriate to make all these decisions without the input of students.
There are 3 separate resolutions regarding DEI on today's agenda. Today's meeting is being held at the offices of the State Board of Education in downtown Boise. It will get underway at 9 a.m. The Boise City Council hosted a rare joint session yesterday with trustees from the Boise Public Library System, and a reminder that the downtown library is just one of a network of 5 locations. Up top, more people are walking through the Boise Library doors than ever before. Here is Jessica Dorr, director of the library.
As Boise grows, the library is growing. Look at the trends on this. Everything is going up. This is our in-person usage. This looks the same in our programs. This looks the same in our program attendance. This looks the same in the circulation. We are seeing month over month increases, year over year increases.
There is something like 214,000 active users in Boise libraries. Yesterday's meeting was indeed about services at the library. It was also about what many in the community say they want to see.
We're starting to see more people are coming in. There are times when our locations are crowded, and there's particularly places where we're hoping, or the community is hoping, that we can have more support for users as a group. So specifically youth and teens. Meeting and study spaces, there are times when people just don't have an ability to meet because there's not a room that's available.
Earlier this week, we reported of yet another instance of a person who chose to remain anonymous who wanted a book pulled from the library. That book happened to be a book about Renaissance art from the 1400s. Trustees voted to keep the book in the adult nonfiction collection. But such challenges was not lost yesterday. In a comment from Boise Mayor Lauren McLean.
Thank you to the Board of Trustees. It's become even more encompassing than we expected and than you expected, I imagine, when you said yes to my invitation to serve. And I also want to acknowledge in these tough times when There's even more that you're being asked to do, such as look at books and help the library make calls in a rather polarized environment. You've really stood up.
And library trustees said they are about to embark on community listening sessions, getting more input from the public on the direction, while the need for library resources continues to grow and shadows the growth of the city. Officials agree it is way too early, but Idaho has already seen the season's first avalanche death. In fact, it's the first avalanche death in the U.S. this season. The victim, 41-year-old Jason Haynes of Cuna. He was on a snowbike with friends in Adams County, but then an avalanche was triggered. Last season, the Colorado Avalanche Information System, which tracks such fatalities, recorded 16 avalanche deaths. And the real threat of avalanche has been top of mind in the Wood River Valley this week. Blaine County Commissioners and the Ketchum City Council each got briefings. Analysis from the Alaska-based David Hamray and associates experts on avalanches. David Sheriff presented the analysis, an 80-page document. He says because of massive scarring from this year's wildfires, avalanche risk has been increased.
In the last 10 years, you've had more significant urban impacting avalanche cycles than I would say you've consistently had in the 50-year.
On the table, the possible creation of an avalanche commission. Here is Ketchum Mayor Neil Bradshaw.
I'm all in favor of commissions if it's going to improve things, but not if it's adding bureaucracy. Where are we now in terms of sort of avalanche issues?
Currently, each jurisdiction handles their own issues. What he's suggesting is a combination of forecasters and jurisdiction managers that could quickly and easily make effective decisions regarding.
So this would be a multi-jurisdiction commission. Okay, that's clearer. Thank you.
Now to snowpack in managed areas. Our region saw some of our ski resorts open earlier than usual. And now we're getting word that even more Idaho resorts are about to open. Lauren Patterson is with Northwest Public Broadcasting.
Northern Idaho's snowpack is sitting near or over 100%. That's according to Erin Horton, a hydrologist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service.
The snowpack is looking really good across pretty much all of Idaho except in eastern Idaho and the Snake River headwaters. This early snowpack season has been really great for winter recreation.
Brundage Mountain Ski Resort in McCall and Schweitzer Mountain Resort in Sandpoint both opened early this year after a bunch of early snow in November. Despite all the fresh powder, Horton says parts of Idaho are still abnormally dry and below normal for total water year precipitation. But there's still time. This year's snowpack will officially be measured at the end of December through May or June, Horton says. Reporting in Orofino, Idaho, I'm Lauren Patterson.
And that is the connector for a Wednesday. We'll see you back here Thursday. In the meantime, to stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. And thanks for listening.
We could all use a little help navigating the news these days. The Consider This podcast wants to give you a hand. 6 days a week, we'll help you make sense of the day's biggest news story and what it means for you in less than 15 minutes. Listen now to the Consider This podcast from NPR.